But it is recording now.
All right, perfect. You can always cut me. Yeah, so I'm telling her I got these tickets to like a resort in the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go there for a short little vacation. Should be pretty good. Hit up the mini bar. Oh, all right. Here's the show.
So we're doing another video. Maybe this will be the first one up. Who knows?
Who knows?
We are gonna do a review / discussion of Cold Skin. It's late at night. Kinda, we're not super chipper right now.
I just hit the bong. Yeah. So I'm ready to talk about this thing. Cold Skin, starring Ray Stevenson and who else? Oh my goodness. Total mind blank.
Some guy who's in a bunch of British stuff.
We should totally have prepared for better for this review.
Ray Stevens is great though.
Yeah.
He's really good.
So it was Ray Stevenson, but originally it was written for Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and so somehow he jumped out of the project, probably. Got some other cool movie he's involved in. I mean, was even done that Mute movie for Netflix.
Oh, that was good.
Was it? I didn't see it.
That's the horror movie, right?
No, it's cyberpunk. It's got like Paul Rudd in it with like this.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Mustache.
I haven't seen that one yet. I do know which one that one is. I do
want to check it out, but my mom's like, it sucks. And I mean, she likes Steven Seagal movies, so I tend to go with her reviews. You know.
What was that we saw? Oh, we were on a bus ride back to here from downtown, and we saw this bar. And this bar, the gimmick of it is like neon aquariums.
Yeah,
like everywhere.
Wall-to-wall aquariums in this place. It looked like something out of the fight in Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's totally like this place was meant to be an action movie, you know, where all it takes is one fight.
One fight.
Everything goes to shit.
I'm just like, what happens when some dude gets super hammered at this aquarium bar and decides to start fist shoveling fish in his mouth?
Didn't necessarily look like expensive aquariums either. Like
no.
they really felt like a fist could go through the glass.
like those 13-gallon $10 starter kits you want. You look inside, are those even real fish? They got the battery flipper on. Like, oh, okay, they're hip to what's going on.
Yeah.
But speaking about fish and cold skin.
Cold Skin.
Yeah,
this came out in 2017. It's a Spanish film. It's all in English.
So let's give the overall premise.
Yeah.
Like, what's the overall rundown? What's the overall story about?
The overall story is about a soldier, or just a person who's part of a military, but he gets assigned or asks to be assigned to work as a weather person on an island that, you know, you just assume that in the early 1900s, the Navy, they put people on a bunch of different islands with lighthouses and examine the weather and wildlife or information on trade routes and things like that. And it seems like this guy asked for this job. He's assuming he's going to be on this island for a year, for the most part by himself. But you do see there's a lighthouse
dialogue too. That's like his internal monologues are like
put into a narration that seems like
a journal
from
form,
his journal.
So we know his thoughts. So he's there definitely is like he's reclusive, wants to learn about this place, but there's some reason he's gone here. He's running from something, it feels like. And he keeps carrying around this copy of Dante's Inferno, this really nice.
Yeah, this is a recurring motif of the film.
They show the book like 5 times, this thing. So I definitely feel like it's significant. And the movie opens with a quote from Nietzsche, you know, that classic, you know,
look into the abyss quote, and you'll find the abyss looks back like you might be evil yourself and not looking.
Yeah, like you can't look down at evil so long without some of it getting into your soul. And it feels like that was a setup for this whole movie, because we know that, as you're saying, so this guy arrives at this island to replace the lighthouse keeper, who we discover is missing or dead. They go to a tower, because first they find the lightkeeper's house, right? And it's just abandoned.
It's the weather house.
Oh, it's the
weatherman's house.
Okay. And then they go to the lighthouse.
Yeah, and ask him what happened with the weatherman. You do kind of find out later there's a possibility that this guy Gruner, who's the lighthouse person, might have actually been the first weather person. There might have never been a lighthouse person ever.
Yeah, there might have never been another guy. Or he might have been there with his wife. Is another idea you have. And then his wife left him, and that's why he went there. Some weird spoiler.
There's some subtext. It's also from a novel, and I don't think it's a perfectly adapted novel. Could be some of the problems of this film. I do like it. I do think it's a cool film, and I do think there's a lot to possibly still learn from it. But
yeah, visually it looks great.
Oh,
Color
it looks
palette
really
is
good.
Nice. The creatures,
the location.
Spoiler alert, their island is besieged by amphibious humanoids, like sort of merfolk.
A lot of the aesthetic of the film is like what you would imagine Lovecraftian stuff to be. Not necessarily the themes completely, but the type people making you think of like the Innsmouth stuff or...
And I felt like that internal narration was adding to the Lovecraftian element. Like it was really trying to play up the atmosphere of this island they land at. There's like no animal sounds. They say that there's no vegetation. But then very quickly, as the monsters first kind of encounter our main character, who has no name, his name's just Friend in the movie. And as they first encounters him, he like takes no shits. This guy is like stomping on fish hands.
He's like, this ain't right. I don't trust whatever this is.
You get your one of your typical setups for a jump scare, and then instead of it being a jump scare, totally flips that expectation to what I thought was one of the most satisfying spots.
Kind of like one of those moments where like somebody's looking through the keyhole, and then
you expect what
all of a sudden there's a jump scare and the person runs back. No, they fight immediately.
Yeah, it doesn't play out how you'd expect it, which was really nice because you saw the jump scare coming and then 180s on you.
And part of the thing of the adaptation of the book to this that didn't translate is this character was from the military, having to do with, I think it was I don't want to say individualization of Ireland, but the freeing of Ireland.
Yeah, it's I guess without getting into too much like British history, it's got to be someone of the British taking control of Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
because this main character, of Ireland. Yeah, he's fought in the independence of it and is a veteran of that war. Yeah. And so now...
Which makes a lot more sense with what this film is about. Makes you wonder a little bit if the director didn't understand the subtext of the story, them leaving that out. Because that does have a lot to do with a lot of what the subtext is about. I had to look online a bit and at other YouTube videos for some of the subtext. It's not completely out there. Like
it's not very obvious that it's about how British colonialism can also lead to sort of like manic oppression. Yeah. And like this character who was just we're doing this spreading out for the war, or not even for the war, we're spreading out because of the Navy. We're spending money here. This is just a waste of resources building this island lighthouse. But then encountering these creatures, he's so obsessed with his dominance over them. And that's kind of, it goes beyond reason at a point to where he even has mental breakdowns throughout it when things don't go his way. And there's I don't know what the name of the madness affliction is, but there's definitely a sense that he can't allow others to escape him.
Yeah, he has some control issues, for sure.
Abandonment
issues. And those come up in various points.
Yeah. Now, some oddities in the film that play out tricky to me. Like, spoiler alert. So
this whole thing's gonna be spoilers.
This whole thing is spoilers.
This is on Shudder, by the way.
This dude who's running the lighthouse, Bruner, he's got a captured fish person with him, who he's essentially like also fucking, right? Yeah, and treats like a dog. She's a battered fish fried woman.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like a battered wife syndrome / just treating like battered he treats fish. Her like inhuman, and they seem to only be around in kind of a weird battered wife's Stockholm syndrome way because you can tell she could leave.
Yeah, she like jumped 9 feet over rocks. He lets her go swimming all the time. Doesn't really leash her or chain her up. Yeah. And he references later every time she's left, she just comes back. Yeah. And that he found her as a baby tied up and saved her life. So it's weird that the guy who has obviously he's raised one of these creatures from infancy to also have sex with it wants to kill every single other one of them. Yeah, like he and I noticed there was always males to get attacked. I didn't see because they're very obvious that the females have breasts, and they don't always show the main character because she's dressed up a lot. You know, she's obviously a modest fish person. They've got fashion sense down there under the sea, you know, with this, whatever those forks they are that they're always fucking with their hair on. They're all bald, these fish people, obviously. You don't just run forks through your hair. But that one landed as good as it should have.
Kind of what goes into the film a little bit later is, you know, he realizes, like, I'm not going to survive by myself. He ends up burning down his house trying to defend it, and he shacks up with Gruber.
Choices, yeah.
He shacks up with them for safety, and they go through some shit of him being, like, kind of forced into fighting the fish people himself. On Gruber's weird quest, and they do that for months. He's doing shit work, he's doing the chores and everything, and it becomes this existence of, like, fighting the fish people at night, doing chores during the day, and then watching the fish lady get
banged by Gruner.
Yeah,
and she didn't seem like she hated it. Like, that was my. When I looked at it,
there is, like, a weird.
It seems sensual. Like, she leaves the hand up.
I don't know if it started that way, but.
I mean, she obviously loves him.
That's why I think there's a battered wife syndrome. Is, like, growing to love your captor.
She's like, he's a good man. You just don't know Gruner like I do.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think the novel was written that way too, because a lot of the novel was about colonization and how the fish people are people.
Yeah, because
so you never know if she was maybe culturally she was abandoned. You know, you don't know what is there. You don't really understand that there's a culture so much. They try and keep you from seeing that there could be a fish culture of sorts.
Yeah, they play up this so long that the creatures are monsters that you're like, okay, I get we got to kill all of them at night because they just want to kill us. But then during the daytime you have the half-cultured one. And so I don't know if a conflict that was supposed to be in the movie was that, oh, we could civilize these people, that's the sense of cult right there, the colonization. And I think that Gruner maybe didn't want to colonize them.
He wants them.
He would rather them all be destroyed.
He wants to make them extinct.
And the other guy, friend, was still about, well, if they are people, we should control them or civilize them, but Gruner fucking this other one, that's still
that was so weird to him. Like, he becomes friendly with Anara Siren. Well, the Siren is what she's kind of called in the novel.
Yeah, Spanish name for it.
But I don't know if it...
Put that below for...
There's almost some scenes that you could almost say could almost become romantic, but I don't know if that was actually the point of it. I think it's more just him acknowledging that they have a humanity to them, and he's realizing that. Because he still kind of says, like, aren't you curious about them scientifically, you know?
Yeah, like, we get taken back to America, cut them up.
We could become famous.
Yeah, and he's like, Oswald, dude, I came to the shithole, what is it, asshole, the earth's become rich?
Yeah.
He's like, no, he came there to, like, chew bubblegum, fuck fish ladies, kill the rest of them.
Yeah.
And he just ran out of bubblegum at this point.
And what is cool about the film, aside from it, it has cool effects, and the battle scenes at night when they're fighting the fish are pretty cool.
Yeah, the action's good. There's a sense, you get a good sense where everybody's at all times.
Stabbing them,
action movies,
blowing their heads off. I mean, they
there's
go
a lot of gore and a lot of good headshots with these, like, they're just 30-06 and these defenseless fish dudes who every night still come at them, with nothing, no weapons.
Yeah.
You know, but with their hands. And so there is a sense of
they're climbing
the primitive
up the tower,
culturally being oppressed and destroyed by superior technology. And later in the movie, they even use that superior technology. They find a sunken ship. They go diving down and retrieve some dynamite.
Yeah,
that they
part of a plot to kill them all.
Try to blow them up, but I'm like, how are you gonna kill all of them if they just come from the sea at night in hordes? Yeah. So there was always a flawed sense of the plot and the plan, which I didn't get why Fred was just down with.
There was a little bit of, like, Gruber being like, oh, maybe he'll just die trying to get the dynamite. So this
that's what I kind of thought. Maybe get down there and maybe kill him. Like,
there's a good sense of place in the film. Like, you can tell, even though this is a tiny little island, there's, like, the swimming cove, this place with the bones of some huge beast.
Which is kind of a reference back at the very beginning when Friend is going through the weatherman's cabin, he finds his old journals.
Yeah.
And it's clearly some naturalist stuff. You know, he's got pictures of crustaceans that he's been studying, and he's got a picture of the bones. So that was kind of nice that it came back into the movie. And I kept thinking Inferno might have something else that was going to keep popping back up. But it really was like played like Sisyphus almost. Because this friend, after all of this, going through all of the character development of realizing these savage fish people are not savage fish people, but a cultural society that should be made peace with. He even says that they want to make peace with us. By the end of the movie, he just, for some reason, is back where the Ray Stevenson character is at the beginning. And I'm like, does that mean that the new guy he's going to be all crazy with the new guy too?
Yeah.
You know, and all this is supposed to happen before World War I, which you get a sense of timing that it's the year right before it starts.
Yeah.
That as he's arrived,
exactly.
You know, there's the assassination of the royal family, and so then you've got by the next year, instead of just being we're the new weatherman, it's like, hell, we're the soldiers here.
Yeah.
We gotta replace this because we're at war.
Yep, we're at war now.
And he's just like, whatever, fishmans are out here, you know.
And you wonder if Gruner, I always want to call him like MacGruber.
Yeah.
Gruner is actually just the previous weatherman, you know.
It just plays out odd. Because he even asks, like, where's Gruner? Because he says, Gruner, wake up. Like, is that because they also made the same trek, seeing, like, there's Gruner's fucking house carved everywhere. So there's a lot in there you could tell is missing from the novel. Yeah, it's not a direct translation.
It's not perfect, but Stevenson's pretty awesome.
He carries that movie without his insanity.
Very interesting watching the Siren and Gruner's relationship. I'm not going to say it's entirely bad. I did like a lot of it, but it's not perfect. I think there was some lost in translation slightly there.
Yeah, would you say it was the Kirkland brand version of Shape of Water?
yeah, to use that overused joke. Yeah. But, I mean, it looks good. It looks like a great budget movie. It's directed well. The set design's nice. So there's a lot to like about it.
It deserves some love, too, because...
And that's part of it. Is like one reason that I wanted to do this review a lot myself is I feel like more people should at least watch it. It's worth watching.
Yeah, because it flopped, apparently.
Yeah, I saw it made $800,000 and it cost $8.5 million. So and I'm looking up YouTube videos on it. Like, no one's watched this film practically, and it looks awesome. It is a very well made.
It was
movie.
watchable. I mean, it leaves you with some questions. There's some, like, I felt there were some character choices.
And they show towards the end that the fish people, they more acknowledge there's a culture of them. Like, you see, you know, some of their jewelry that they wear and things.
Yes,
like that.
You definitely, as the audience, learn that. And I think
these people that are being treated as other than human do have a humanity to them,
and shouldn't just be taken over. And that's clearly where the theme of, or the underlying theme of
the story of
colonialism being, you know, bad for the global cultural.
And hey, if you're a furry of the fish variety,
how do you even do that? Like, I don't know. He was clearly fucking the fish lady, but I'm like, okay, so.
I mean, she had a banging bod when you see her naked.
I know, when you get her butt in the air, I'm like, I get it, but her fish face, I was like, she looks like. I can see why he hits her. No, I mean.
You're like, really? No bag over that?
Yeah, it's like,
Where does this take picture of my wife over your face? Because there's a moment, like, at the end where he's, like, confronted with everything of her leaving him, and he's like, you can't leave me, and you're like, oh, there's some issues here.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the one that leaves. And you're like, okay, this guy Gruner is like weird.
He goes back to the lighthouse, and there's all the fish people there, you know, basically having their last stand of, like, yeah, you can't have any power over us anymore. I mean, he shoots one of the fish children from really far away with a freaking
he's the Punisher. You can't.
Yeah, with one of those flare guns. Yeah, that was a good shot.
But he'd also adapted it to be a weapon. He was trying to really put it all this shit in, so it probably went further. Caked him up, but like that fish dude died like he was a blade vampire. It was like eyes were on fire and shit.
There's probably not too much more to say about it, but check it out. It's on Shudder, at least at this moment here in 2019. It might be on there forever, but I've been noticing they tend to have stuff go for like a couple months at a time.
But if you see it at your like local Walmart or something like that, buy this movie. It deserves to get some money.
If it's in the cheapo box, hell yeah.
Yeah, throw it on. You know, especially if you're a fan of The Shape of Water, because you know you can keep that the fish moment going on.
All right, this is just chill. We're tired. It's late at night, but later.
Check it out. Yeah, I mean those tickets to that Venezuelan hotel, it's gonna be cheap.